Hello, welcome to Jenny's Food Network. Today I'm going to start responding to messages that were sent to my channel. And like I said in my other videos, if you want to ask me questions or comments, whatever, I will try to respond back immediately or as soon as possible that I can. Sometimes I'm busy, so I might not get back to you right away, but I'm still reading all your stuff. So I also upload my videos through FreddiesModernKungFu, which is my husband's channel. So like I said, to get to me, you gotta come to my channel and send me the messages directly. Okay? Alright, I'm responding to somebody who sent a message a few days ago, and it was a very, very nice long letter. And it was just so sweet and so inspiring that I just want to share it with you guys. Okay? So this is in regard, this person has sent a message about me expressing about, it was the video about me expressing about my marriage, the struggles we go through, and how to resolve the problems that we had, and how I'm not just keeping it to myself but rather expressing myself through YouTube to see how it relates to you and see how you can deal with your situation in comparisons to mine. So this person wrote me a long message, and I'm going to read off the parts that were kind of long. I'll just kind of summarize it, okay? So here we go. Alright, hey Jenny, I've been leisurely following the FMK channel for some time now. The FMK channel is my husband's channel, FreddiesModernKungFu, okay? For the new people who are not familiar with what FMK stands for, okay? And I'm really glad to see that you've taken the step to create your own unique channel and broadcast your thoughts, reflections, and talents to the YouTube community and the world. I hope your channel grows and you find success in your endeavors. I just saw your YouTube video titled Relationship in Regards to Marriage Part 1, and it really struck me a chord with me. Yes, I may be a male, but I feel like a part of me really understands what you meant when you expressed that you had more and more kids, and the feelings of bitterness, unhappiness, impatience, and general negativity seemingly crept into your life. Now, although I am married, I do not have any kids of my own, but recently I did work as a caretaker at an apartment for intellectually disabled adults for several months. Basically, my job was to be a surrogate parent for 6 of the 40 to 50-year-old intellectually disabled men in wheelchairs that had profound mental retardation or Down syndrome. Anyways, the reason I am bringing this up is to say how much I respect I have for mothers like you and stay-at-home moms in general. I mean, I got paid to be a caretaker 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. You have to work as a mom endlessly, mornings, afternoons, and nights, every day, every week, for who knows how long. I have so much respect for that you do, and I hope you don't feel inadequate or guilty because you really are doing such an amazing job. Even though my job entails only caretaking for 40 hours a week, after so many months, those exact feelings you were talking about, bitterness, impatience, anger, and etc., settling in, and I couldn't understand why. It made me realize a lot about my own limitations, and also made me realize how difficult it is to be a stay-at-home parent. Although I did cook, clean, shower, toilet, and put everybody in bed, I definitely didn't do their laundry, as we had another staff that take care of that. I couldn't imagine doing all of this that you do, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is so emotionally, mentally, and physically exhausting. I feel you have all the right in the world to complain a bit when it comes to wanting some escape and time out with your husband. One thing that I always try to do one night every week or two, and do a date night with my spouse, seriously, it will do wonders for your relationship, because when you just get into a grind of working every day and no rest and no alone time together out in the world enjoying each other's company, I can see how that can really take a toll on things too. Maybe you guys already do that, just an idea, just in case it helps at all. Anyways, sorry for the long message, but just wanted to send positive energy and thoughts your way and tell you how much I respect what you're doing and hope that you find ways to uplift your spirits as much as possible. Cheers. And like I said, I'll keep the username or personal name private, just to keep people more comfortable so they don't have to feel like, they're always the same person that sends messages, and to make them feel awkward to announce that. So I'll keep every commenter or anyone who sends me a message, I'll keep the name private, okay? Thank you so much for that beautiful message. I really appreciate that. And when I read that long message, it really touched me by heart to feel that, people can appreciate what I'm doing and to express the problems in my life, the issues that I go through in life, and to relate that to themselves and see what's going through in their life, see if they have ever experienced that, what I have experienced, and to hear about what my solutions are and to see if it works or not, and just to hear someone's thoughts, and to relate to your life and make you feel that you're not alone. Seriously, you're never alone. What you go through, someone can even go through worse than what you go through. And for someone to share how they're going through, in this world, to only express the good things, the positive things in life, that's one side of the story. But when you share your life experiences, that may not always go the way you want it, or that may not go perfectly as people would want to know about it. Or if you're afraid to feel frowned upon, or if you feel easily embarrassed because you're not perfect, or your life career, or your children, or your partner, if things are not always going perfect the way you want it, or the typical ideal relationship or family or wealth, it doesn't matter what people think, And of course you might want to keep certain things more private in your life and not to express that to the world. Understandable. That's completely understandable. But if you feel like you're ready, and that you're ready to open up, and that you're really able to express yourself honestly in a way that people can understand you, there's always miscommunication that someone might read or understand your videos in the wrong way or misunderstand it completely. Then it's their choice to clarify that up and send you a message, ask you a question, But for me, I'm just going to do what I want to do and express myself and share my thoughts and feelings and what I'm going through in life. If that can relate to you, obviously it did relate to this person who sent me this long message. I deeply appreciate that. And in life, sometimes you feel like, oh, you may be a bad person, or why do you feel so negative all the time, why you're so angry all the time. Then, like I said, I'm glad that it helps people to pinpoint what their problems are and to see if they can fix that, or to work it out with another person if another person is involved, And it's so amazing how this person who wrote this letter to me expressed his detailed type of work. It is true, taking care of a group of disabled people, or taking a group of kids, or taking care of, like, working at a daycare full of children. Oh, it's very overwhelming, believe me, I understand. Or you work at a job that involves a lot of customer service, and you having to deal with working at the cash register, ringing up customers after customer for 8 hours a day with very little break, and you're standing on your feet at the cash register, or even if you're sitting down, it's a lot of work, Even if you work at an office, that can be very tiring as well, where you're sitting at a desk, which I used to do that type of job too, when I used to do accounting jobs. And you're at a desk all day, and you work a lot of overtime, to get things done. You even come into work on the weekends to do work, and then project after project, things get backlogged. Oh my goodness. Just think about all the stresses in our lives, and for this situation, to get back into this topic that I was talking about, the letter, thank you so much for expressing about how I was able to relate to you and for you to understand. A lot of times people cannot always understand you if they haven't experienced that, because they're trying to put your experiences into their lives, and that doesn't really make sense at all to them. So how can you understand if you haven't really gone into that experience yourself to get a deeper understanding of it, People can only understand based on what you're telling them, but for them to emotionally go through that drama, or that life crisis, or that dramatic situation that happened to you, that you have to overcome and deal with it, people will only understand better if they have gone through it. So I don't expect everyone to understand what I'm talking about, but those who can relate to me, then if it could help you in some way, then I'm probably doing a good job in expressing myself and to share what I'm going through, and to really help you open up a can of worms that had confused you in so many years, or that had kept you closed up, or that had kept you bottled up and not wanting to express it. Because if I can help in some way, help you figure out why are you feeling down? Why are you feeling depressed? Why are you feeling that things aren't always going your way? Why are you feeling like a failure, which is not a good term to use upon yourself, of course, a failure. Why do you feel that your career is not going your direction? Or is it time for you to make a change in career? Or is there a time for you to start learning to express yourself? You know, are you feeling bullied at work? Are you feeling bullied anywhere you go? Are you feeling bullied by a family member? You know, and for me to express myself, hopefully some of that spirit goes into you and to help you figure out, like, you know what, it's time for me to stand up for myself, and I will do it in a way that it will not backfire at me or bring me down to that person's level who's bullying me, you know? Or it could help you feel like, you know what, I'm not very happy with my significant other, and figure out why. What do you want from this partner? What do you want from your lover? What do you want more from this person? And also ask yourself, like, did you express to your partner like what you want from them? If yes, then is that person giving back what you're looking for? You know, is this, I mean, it depends what you're asking, you know, is it reasonable for that person to give you back what you're looking for? And what I want you guys to do is to work with your relationship in a positive way, you know? I'm not talking about, you know, I'm a drug addict, I want my partner to do drugs too. Or I'm a drinker, I'm a heavy drinker, and my partner is a non-alcohol drinker, and I want to get my partner drunk a lot so we can have fun together. Okay, now is that really healthy for your liver and kidney to filter all that? Or, you know, I'm a smoker and I want my partner to lighten up and go smoke with me. Or I like to go to the bars and clubs and get high on drugs while I'm high on drugs, whatever. And I want my partner to get high too so this person could loosen up. You know, think about what you're requesting. You know, is this person really good for the both of you at all? You know, if it's gonna make you addicted to drugs or have you overdrink alcohol where you can get in a car crash, or your friend can be drunk driving and kill you and everybody in the vehicle. I mean, think about the reasonable stuff. That's if it's reasonable for you to ask your partner what you want to work on, you know what I mean? Or it's another different topic too when you want to be like, you know what, I want more love and affection from you. Or I need you to spend more time with me so we can hang out. And I'm not talking about just because you live with me, that's considered 24/7 spending time with me when you're totally ignoring me all day. You know, think about what you want from your partner. You know, are you working too much? Are you not balancing your work and life? You know, maybe you should spend more time at work in clearing things up, finishing your projects, what you have to do. So when you come home to me, you don't have to be on your computer working. Or is it that you do get your work done at your job, but then you come home and then you want to go out with your friends? Now, how does it make your partner feel? You know what I mean? If you both agree that you both go out and don't spend time with each other, but you spend time with other people, well, think about how that might affect your relationship. That could even make it worse in your relationship, where you become so detached from each other that you don't care to spend time with each other much, but you'd rather go out with your friends. Then you're bonding more with your friends than you're bonding with your own significant other. Then you think about, why are we together then? Why are we married? Why are we dating? Why are we even living together? Why are we even considered officially together if we're not spending much with each other and not enjoying each other's time together? So you think about that. It's like, if you're hanging out with your friends, you might as well go marry your friends or go live with your friends and worship your friends. Because I've been through that relationship before where I was always home by myself, and my ex-husband was always out with his friends. He never took me out much, you know, and when we're together, he was never into talking to me. I'm a very talkative person. I really am. I can talk about a lot of topics and stuff too, you know. Even if it doesn't really relate to me, I'm still like up for going out and talking, you know. And my ex-husband just really didn't want to spend time with me. He's like, what do you want? You want me to bring you hang out with my guy friends? It's just a bunch of guys. Why would you want to hang out? You know, it's like, I'm not even asking for that. You know, all I'm asking is for you to make time for me, you know? And when we are together, I try to conversate with you and you don't seem interested. You mainly just say yes or no. And I would ask him, how come you never talk to me? How come you never conversate? I mean, is something wrong here? It's like, when I talk to you, you never feel like you want to talk to me, and you never look at me in the eye. You just seem so disinterested. Is there something wrong? I mean, I would ask him and he said, well, there's nothing to talk about, so I just don't talk. You don't like to talk about race cars, or you don't like to talk about certain things I want to talk about, so I just don't talk. And you know what? Every time he said that to me, it just broke my heart to pieces. How, if that's how you feel, then why are we still together? You know, I swear to God, I was so madly in love with my ex-husband. I truly was, you know, and over the years of being together for 10 years, it just took a toll in the relationship where I just felt like I'm so in love with this person, but it hurts so much, you know, and this person really doesn't want to spend time with me. He's always out with his friends, and when we're together, you know, we're never really intimate at all, you know, and he's not, and within the first full week after we got married, within the first full week with my ex-husband of course, I wanted to hold his hand right in public. I'm his wife and he's my husband. I just wanted to hold his hand because I'm in love with him, and I didn't like jump all over him and start kissing him. I know not to behave in that way. I understand, you know, that's being a little too much, you know. All I did was I just wanted to hold his hand. He hurried up and pulled his hand away from me and said, don't effing hold my hand in public. It's effing immature. I was like, I was so in shock that I couldn't even respond to him. And my tears just start coming out, but I turned away because I didn't want him to see me cry. But all I wanted to do was just hold his hand. I mean, that was it. And he doesn't like public affection. Okay, I understand. I can respect that, you know, fine. All I wanted to do was just hold his hand. I was not even hugging him. I was not even kissing him. I just wanted to hold his hand because he's the love of my life at the time, you know. And so I got used to, over the years, I just got used to that. He's more of a cold-hearted person. Like, he doesn't like public affection. He doesn't even like me sitting on his lap in public or even at home, right? I don't know. He's just a very unaffectionate person. So the thing was, we never lived together before when we were dating. So when we got married, that was when we moved in. So, you know, just to be aware of all relationships, if you can get along with each other without living together, okay, that's great. Congratulations. But when after you get married, and after you move in together, oh my goodness, that's a whole new story. So that was what happened to me, was after we moved in together, we did not get along. I mean, I was trying to get along with him, you know, but he seemed to hate my guts after we lived together, you know, and he didn't like affection, and we were not intimate much at all. I swear, we didn't even barely have intimacy much. He wasn't much into hugging. He was not much into kissing. He wasn't much into having sex, you know. So, and it was just like weird because we had so much connection when we were dating, and then after we lived together, he just hated my guts, you know. He just didn't make time for me. He just went out with his friends all the time, and I was home by myself a lot, you know. And over the years, if you're here in life at this level, and you're so madly in love with this person at this level, and this other partner of yours is not really into you, he's like halfway here, and I'm trying to bring him up to here to be in love with me back, but he just kept steering away from me. He kept getting lower and lower than me. His love kept moving away from me. And you can't force someone to love you. Really, I'm serious. You know, and I tried and tried to want to, you know, to get him to love me more and to, you know, but nothing worked. And over the years, I just accepted that my ex-husband, well, husband at the time, I just learned to accept that he's not an affectionate person. He's not really into sex. He's not really appreciating me for being there with him. And that I just felt that he just wasn't in love with me anymore. And yeah, it breaks my heart, you know. And he said some really mean things to me, like, I married you because I felt sorry for you. I mean, because I was really young. Because at the time, I got married at 17 years old. I mean, I'm 36 years old right now. And yes, I got married at 17 years old. You know, big mistake. Not just that I got married young too, but you can get married even in your 30s or 40s or even in your 20s. And there could be a downfall in your relationship that you break up anyway. So not just because I got young, not just because I got married young, but also that it just didn't work out between us. Okay, so yes, I don't want my daughter to get married at the age of 17 because she has a lot more going on in her life, you know. And you don't want to be in a relationship that could be abusive, bad, or fall out of love for each other, and just, you know, a bitter, bad relationship pretty much, you know. And so sorry to get into this subject about my past, but all I'm just trying to say is about relationship-wise, if you're not happy for whatever reason, figure out what it is. Don't just sit on it for 10 years like I did, you know. I really wasted my life. So I met him when I was 15 years old, okay? And by the time we broke up, got a divorce, was when I was 25 years old. So I pretty much didn't really have my life, really. And, you know, at the time when you're so in love, you just want to marry the person, be with them, you know. So I met my ex-husband back then. We were dating when I was 15 years old. We dated for 2.5 years, got married at 17 years old. And luckily, we never had kids together. I was never pregnant by him. So it wasn't marriage out of pregnancy or whatever. So I never had kids with him. And by the age of 25, you know, things just went downhill. Things weren't working out, you know. I eventually accepted who he was and respected that. Fine, I can't get much out of you. And we were just no longer compatible. There wasn't much communication between us because I tried, you know, and after a while I just had to give up, and we had such a long history together, and I didn't want to break it. I didn't want to destroy the history that we had. I felt very obligated to be in the relationship. I didn't want the relationship to feel that I failed in the relationship and that he failed in the relationship. I didn't want people to know about our problems. I didn't want people to know that the relationship was just awful. I didn't want people to know that that we might be going to a divorce. I didn't want people to feel that that we both failed our relationship, and that is a sad thing and that is a shameful thing. I just felt that I didn't want people to reflect on me as that I wasn't good enough for the marriage to work, or he wasn't good enough for the marriage to work. We just didn't want people to see us that we failed. And failing in anything, any topic that you can think of, thinking of yourself failing in something can be devastating, and you may not want to admit to that. And when you refuse to admit to it, when you refuse to admit to it, and if you refuse to accept it, then you're going to cling onto something really horrible for many, many years to come. You're going to cling on to the relationship. You can cling on to a job that you really hate. You can cling on to a situation that is failing and you're not accepting the truth. Or you may open a business and it's failing, or it's not making money and you're just losing more money, and you're refusing to accept that it's better off to just close down the business and move on with your life, or go get another job through another employer. You know, and if you're failing to accept that your relationship is abusive or that it's a very unhappy environment, you're gonna live in hell already. It's really bad. It's like you're depressed, you're angry, you're bitter, you're unhappy, or you're feeling so down all the time. Believe me, when your spirit is down, your bad energy just spreads to everyone around you. And you may not even notice that. And you may not realize why my friends aren't being around me, my parents don't want to talk to me, my partner doesn't want to talk to me, people at work seem to hate my guts now. You figure out where that problem is coming from, you know? You figure out why you have changed to become such a bitter person, or a very impatient person, or a very angry person, or such a very negative person to be around. You figure out where that's coming from. And if you figure out what the problem is, and if you still refuse to accept that, and if you still refuse to admit to that, and if you refuse to do something about that, how can you live with yourself? How can you live to be proud of yourself? I mean, it first comes down to being proud of yourself and giving yourself credit. And I know I'm one of the worst people out there that, you know, I find it so hard to give myself credit a lot, honestly. And I find it so hard to be happy with myself a lot. You know, my husband Freddie always tells me, oh, you look beautiful, oh, you look great. And I just feel like, oh, really? I really look that great? That's why I caught you looking at that girl wearing that nasty miniskirt who looks like a whore. You know, it's just so silly about our relationship. I mean, I truly am so madly in love with my husband Freddie, and sometimes that can blind you. You know, like when you're really in love with someone, you can be very blinded. You know what I'm saying? So for me, even though I'm just so madly in love with my husband, I always still want to work things out. But sometimes when I get so upset, I just want to say, you know what? There's no resolution in this relationship. We've been together for over 10 years. And you know what? You make me so angry. You know, you need to make a change. But then in return, he's like, well, look at you, you nag too much. You know, you need to make a change with yourself. You know, you're overly aggressive as a female. You need to be more submissive. You and I are head bumping. You know, you complain too much, you know, and but for me, I'm like, well, look at you. You don't help clean around the home. I act like, I feel like I'm a single mother. You need to contribute more in this household. You need to help out more with the household chores. Need to spend more time with the kids. It was just like constant head bumping, blaming each other, you know, but there's no resolution being done. There could be remedies that we could work on, but we're not even taking action until recently that it was pretty much at a verge of a breakup between us, you know, and we just had to really pinpoint what the problem is. And he's gonna have to want to make a change to make it work. And I'm the one who had to make a change to make it work also. So being in a relationship is so difficult. You're better off being alone, okay? But if you wanna get into a relationship, be ready to really compromise and to really work hard on it, you know? And the letter, and back to the letter, the person gave me advice that, you know, I should spend more time with my partner, some time alone, so we could have more quality time together and time away from the kids and the household, you know, pretty much have to get a babysitter and go spend time together. Believe me, Freddie and I did that. We did that every week. When the older kids are in school, we would still have baby Ken with us. So we'll take him with us and we'll go out to eat and we'll go shopping and do some errands and go grocery shopping, you know, until the kids come home from school. We did that, so we did have several hours of time alone with each other and with baby Ken. But on the weekends, Freddie's mom would help babysit at least once a week, and so we could have time to hang out together, go shopping, and, you know, do errands and just spend quality time to each other. But the problem was that we still had a lot of issues between us, and they weren't getting resolved. So when we went biking together, for example, I believe I mentioned to the other video about the relationship in regards to my marriage. In those videos, I did mention something about that. Even though him and I love biking, and we did go biking together alone without the kids or with anyone. So when we went biking, I realized that I was sitting next to him. Instead of sitting like right next to him, like touching his arm, I sat like 3 feet away from him because I just felt upset. I didn't feel happy being around him. I kind of like hated his guts for whatever I'm upset about. So I had this anger and this bitterness towards my husband. And that was not good at all. And I didn't want to bring it up or express it to him, because every time I would bring up things that upset me about him and I would just head bump again and just continuously argue and argue. And so I didn't want to bring it up while we're, you know, having time biking and taking breaks in between our bike rides, you know, along Lake Shore. I mean, it was a beautiful day. It's kind of chilly that day, but it was beautiful Lake Michigan, biking along Lake Shore, the bike path, you know. And I just didn't want to argue with him. And things just built up to a point that after that day, we just exploded, just argued with each other constantly, you know. And that was not good. That was not healthy. So I'm so glad that him and I were willing to compromise and work things out and figure out what our problems are, and to really both make a change. And I'm glad that we both did make a lot of effort to make a change between us. So things are much better now, thank goodness. Who knows, things might flare back up. I didn't say that this is the end of it where things will be great between us. You know, there could be another incident, something stupid could happen, and it could make me blow up or make him blow up at me. So life is a constant learning process, you know, it's a constant communication, and make sure you open up to each other. If your partner doesn't want to open up to you, then you have to try to get them open up, you know. I'm not talking about using violence and yelling at each other, because that makes it worse. I've done it and it just makes us argue more, you know. So and so, you know, whatever happens in your life, whatever's triggering the anger, the bitterness, the unhappiness, the stresses in your life, figure out what it is and where is it coming from, and pinpoint who's causing that negativity onto you, okay? And it comes onto you, and then your negativity goes around to everybody around you. So figure out, make the extra effort, figure out what your problem is, work it out with that person if it's worth it. And like I said, if you're really in love with your partner, if you're madly crazy about them, and you want to stay with your partner and your partner wants the same, then it's worth for the both of you to work it out. So so thank you so much to that writer who wrote me a beautiful message. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It was really worthwhile doing a video response. When I do video responses, I may not type back to you back in the comment section, but I will do a video response, okay? So as long as you stay in tune with my videos coming out, then you'll be pretty much updated. If you have time, you come back onto my channel and, you know, breeze through whichever topic interests you, okay? And thank you so much for expressing that, how it related to you, how it made you feel bitter and negative, and to have you realize that you're not the only person in this world that feels that way, that you are not alone. You are never alone. You have never been alone on that situation, okay? So I'm here to support you as well, to keep your head up. You know, your job is your job. It pays your bills, right? We should be thankful to even have a job these days because the economy is very tough. And just be thankful that you have a wife, you know, or a spouse, partner, significant other in your life who's there for you in some way that's making you happy, and spend that quality time with that person. I mean, your job is your job. And when you come home, just appreciate that. Because my ex-husband back then, he always came home very angry because he hated his job. You know, and he blamed me a lot for everything that he wanted to blame me. And because he didn't see me getting upset or angry anymore, he'll like destroy things, break things around the home. You know, and that's not good for him or for me, okay? So if you're upset about your job, do something about it. Okay, just don't just come home and take your anger and frustration on your partner, because that's going to open up another can of worms, and it can lead you to a divorce, or it could lead you to breaking up with your partner that you're dating, even if you're not married, or it could destroy the situation even more if you have children involved and has to see you fight or argue every day or every week, you know. So whatever's bothering you, it could be your relationship, your job, whatever. Just work it out, open yourself up, because if you don't, you're going to be the only one, and the partner involved, and the people around you, eating your bitterness, eating your negativity and sadness and sorrow, and you don't want that. So if you want to live a happy, long life, then, you know, figure it out and make the effort, okay? And just keep your spirit up, and if you feel that you could talk to somebody that you trust who can help you and guide you, or counsel you, or advise you in a positive way, or you can get feedback from different people that you trust. And if you don't want them to tell other people, make sure you tell them, please don't tell my problems to your partner, or tell your problems to the other family members, you know. And it's up to the person if they can keep your promise, okay? So thank you so much for the person who wrote me this letter. I totally loved it. I told my husband how wonderful these fans who have come onto my channel, and it has been a lot of great help from the FreddiesModernKungFu channel that had a great high number base of you know, viewers, and for them to come onto my channel, it's been totally awesome. So I've been getting a lot of help from the channel because my videos are uploaded there as well. So like I said, to contact me, come to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you send me your messages. And thanks so much for that beautiful letter. I love it. I love it. So that's why it's worthwhile to respond back, okay? Thank you for sharing your thoughts and experience, and I'm glad that I was able to help you open up as to how I felt, how it related to you. And thank you so much for telling me how much you respected mothers of all for being housewives and doing what they have to do, and, you know, take care of the household. And it could be very overwhelming, very tiring, you know, being in the environment a lot. It's hard to go anywhere when you have kids, you know, especially very young children, because they could be tired, they could be crabby, you gotta change their diapers. Even if they're potty trained, you have to watch them because they could disappear or get kidnapped or roam around somewhere and you can't find them in public. So it's really tough. So thanks so much for the beautiful letter. Really appreciate it, and stay tuned with my upcoming videos. Thanks.